St. Maarten, good evening. Normally, I do my lives on Monday, but because Monday was Easter Monday, I respected that day and opted not to go live. I will hold on a few minutes to see if the connection is on and if I am connected to the internet. All right, we are connected, so at least I know I am live. I want to talk today about the police saga. I have held off for at least a week and a half to not make any statements whatsoever and just really look at it. I spoke about it briefly in my last live that I had, and that was about 10 days ago. I listened to a lot of people. I looked at a lot of interviews, and what was interesting was the interview that Mr. Lyndon Lewis did on Andrew Dick. And the reason I said it was an interesting interview is while there was a lot of going and coming between the minister, the government, the unions, to an extent, most probably, even the unions battling each other, and I'll get to that a little later. I'm not going to make this a long, drawn-out something. I'm going to be very factual with a few things. I want to be off the air within 20 minutes. So here goes. I followed an interview by Lyndon Lewis and Andrew yesterday. Now, this interview, I think, was done on Tuesday. On Tuesday, there was a meeting between the Honorable MP Bryson, I believe MP Arundel was there too, Mr. Lewis and Mrs. Heerenveen. They came together and they decided, let's do something and bring some positive proposals to the table to ensure that we try to curb this issue that especially the police workers are having. While this is a justice ministry fight, the ones most affected are the police officers. Those are the ones that they want to work for Carnival, but their overtime is limited to 30 hours, 750 guilders, something in that sense. Secondly, when they were having this meeting / discussion with the union, because they met as I want to say, out of the position of the justice chair, MP Bryson chairs that committee. I want to believe it is from that direction that the MP came and said, let me see what we can mean to solve this problem. Something very admirable. Look, we don't always have to agree with everything between us, but when something is done with the right intent, there's nothing wrong with saying so publicly also. I didn't agree with everything he said, and I will discuss that later, but what I must say is he made an attempt. In the attempt, and in the interview of Lyndon, there were a few things that became very clear. So let's look at it. There was this discussion about the union being sidelined. Is that true? Yes or no? Now, if I look at the interview that was just, or the article just posted on SMN News, where the minister thanked the class of 2011 and 2015, I think it was 2012 actually, but nevertheless, 2011 or 12 and 2015, for making use of her open door policy to discuss the matter at hand. These are members that are being represented by a union. And when you start talking to individual parts of the organization, you are basically sidelining the union or undermining their authority. There's no other way around that. I'm not going to waste time with it. It is despicable what the minister did. I don't agree with it whatsoever, and the union should have been much more harsher in their approach to such things. Because when you allow people to start picking on your membership, it either means your leadership is no good or their intents are not in your favor. That's how simple it is in unionism. I've been there long enough to know right from wrong when it comes to these type of things. Undermining the organization is a dangerous thing. And that's happening now from different sides, actually. But Lyndon said, and Lyndon belongs to this group of MP Bryson and MP Arundel, and Lyndon also works for the Minister of Theatre, who is very concerned, naturally, of the economical turn down that will come because of these actions. While the Prime Minister said yesterday that she hasn't seen any negative turnouts or turn downs about this action, because she always hears the siren going, so that means they're working. While I find that very nice to say, because it means that the police have no malintent with their go slow, but they do have an intent. And an intent is to get done what needs to be done for the past 13 years. And we can be against them or we can be for them. I personally support their actions. I think their actions are warranted. Maybe some will say yes, but give us a chance. We're nearly there. Chances were given, agreements were made. And when you can't meet an agreement, try to find a compromise. Don't just shy away. Don't just move away and then do as if, what's the problem? What problem have I got? That's not the way to handle this. Lyndon also said it correctly. The minister has shown absolutely no empathy. None whatsoever. I'm standing my ground. You have no grounds to stand. Don't you all understand this? The statement was also made that all placement letters are illegal because the minister cannot appoint anybody to sign on her behalf in this instance. A little research shows that the methodology used for civil servants, and police are also civil servants, but I'll come to it just now, is that the Council of Ministers can mandate an SG. Because when we got our placement letters into the new organization, the BSA, Bestuurs College, Executive Council, those days, 2009 into 2010, mandated the sector directors in the director model we used to have, in the sector model we used to have, to sign the placement letters to everybody. So can it be used in this statement, in this system? I do believe so. But because the police has a different regulation than the civil servants them do, this is where it gets a little ticklish. I am not 100% sure. I spoke to some of the members that work in some of these legislative branches, personnel affairs and all those things, and it is a touch and go in certain places. So is the letter illegal? I don't know. I can't tell you hard right now. Yes, it is. No, it's not. I am not sure. But I believe Lyndon and them who work in this sector, in this ministry, who has represented many members in this ministry in courts and out of courts, I believe they might know it better than me. And if they tell me it's not good, I want to lean that direction right now. The reason they're saying also that the letter has a fault is because also that the legal position, what's really happening? So again, you know, it's a little touch and go on these things. The third thing that Lyndon also mentioned was that the people must be paid their back pay. And MP Bryson alluded a little more in his article of the Daily Herald of yesterday on possibilities. What was a sticking point and has now become a real sticking point is the overtime. Because the overtime used to be 150% and 200% on weekends and off days, etc., and 150 during regular shifts. That has now changed to the 30 hours max, and I think 750 or 1,000 guilders, depending on your rank. The police want their normal overtime back. Now, how bad the police are when it comes to being able to make ends meet at the end of the month is crystal clear to many people. Because if people that earn $3,000 have a hard time making ends meet, then a lot of police officers are going to have a very hard time making ends meet. So again, these were some of the things that were coming out. Now, they went a little further in the interviews because they said that threats are being made. Who gonna get fired? Or actions gonna be taken against them in courts. Instead of trying to find solutions, they are pushing away each other more and more. I know that what happens right now is difficult for all parties, but all parties gonna have to compromise. All, not some of them. All of them gonna have to compromise if they want to have a solution by tomorrow midday. And why do I say tomorrow midday? Because if there's no solution, there's going to be a very serious problem for Carnival to take off tomorrow night. Like it or not, the police have stood their grounds. I spoke to them today, about 5 o'clock this afternoon yet. I spoke to the lawyer and I spoke to the NAPB. And both of them have said there is no agreement at this point in time, which means the no-goes or the no-dos, like, for example, Carnival, is on the line. And this is where we need to find a solution. Because not having Carnival is going to have a very, very serious financial impact on this island. A lot of people made investments to make an extra dollar in Carnival. A lot of people bought tickets, made hotel reservations and all those type of things to come to the Juve of the world, St. Maarten's Juve, St. Maarten's Carnival. And the way things are looking right now, we have no clue what's going to happen tomorrow night. But let's move on. It is my firm belief that the Council of Ministers can make certain agreements and put these on paper to the police officers. Can they have money on their bank account by tomorrow midday? I sincerely doubt that. As somebody that worked in government for 24 years, I don't think so. It normally will take some time to process. You're going into the weekend. But they can give them a hard piece of paper that if they don't live up to it, they can put a lien on their bank accounts and get their money. So there are possibilities, but they're going to have to make sacrifices now. This isn't about the police making sacrifices or the justice workers making sacrifices. This is about government now making sacrifices. Because government has played and played and played, and now they have outplayed themselves. Decisions were made. Targets were set. December 31st, March 15th, March 31st. And we are still not there. And we can be very close. We might be finished in 3 days. But we are not finished now. And the agreements were that you were going to be finished. And that you would have paid the people. And that, yes, they have an agreement 3 to 5 years. So when is payment number 1 coming? It was supposed to be January 1st. It wasn't. You see, these are the problems that rile up the workers, and then we try to do as if the workers are just, eager and this and that and I'm going to come to that just now, because you see the unions are fighting each other. And when unions start to fight each other instead of fighting for the interest of the people, you have a problem. And both unions going to justify their position. I'm sure of it. They will. They're going to come out and they're going to give their side of the story, how they see it. Is that in the best interest of their members? I don't know. I don't have the whole story. Is it in the best interest of the country? Absolutely not. Remember, these unions are the same ones that had actions in the past where the courts got involved. And the courts made, some of them lost their case, the employees got wet, and the other, the courts put them back to work because country comes above them. There's no need to go call which union or which situation. But anybody that follows the media will understand what it means. Now, Romiko asked me if the Parliament will call an emergency public meeting by 1 a.m. to send home the Minister of Justice. Absolutely not. They are all going to vote party lines. If the Parliament was serious, that meeting would have been called a long time ago. But the government is the one that has to step up to the plate, not the Parliament. Because the Parliament has a coalition there that represents the government too. So that's why I was so happy when I saw MP Bryson, who forms part of the government, stepped up to the plate with independent member MP Arundel. And I said, with this type of move, there might be a possibility that something will happen. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. And that's a pity. Because at this point in time, all that I have understood thus far is that there is no agreement in place. There were meetings also that were done with the minister. I think there was an emergency meeting done on Wednesday, yesterday. It lasted for about an hour and a half. And after everybody had their say and say who this and do that and do that and that, blah, 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 nothing came out of it. That's the bottom line. There is no agreement. There is no solution at present. Now, again, the safety and security of this country are at stake. That's the most important thing. And that it will affect the carnival, that's a big possibility. And it will hurt a lot of people, including everybody who made investments. But you know what? I don't want anybody to believe that this slowdown doesn't have negative effects. You all realize videos start to circulate about how people are brave enough to, in broad daylight on scooters, try to rob people. You know why? Because they know there's no visibility anymore. They know that the police have 2-3 cars driving, no more. This is a problem, people. This isn't only about not being paid, you know. This is about not having material to also carry out your work properly. Now, there were a lot of rumors started to hit the mill this week. Oh, they're bringing in police from Curacao. I really laughed. I had to laugh because if you can't afford to pay your police officers here, how can you bring in officers to pay them, put them up in hotel, feed them, give them per diem and overtime, because they ain't coming here at your request. They come in here to make money. That's why they come in. Enjoy Carnival and make some good money because they're going to get paid well. So again, you see, the problem I have with all of this is that politics is being played. Because I cannot believe that only now, 5 to midnight, MP is going to jump up and do certain things. Last week, Tuesday, I was on SOS Radio. Before I went into that meeting, that radio program with MP Emmanuel and all them, I called MP Arundel. I said, MP Arundel, you need to answer me straight. No nonsense, no BS. Are you standing with your colleagues in blue? Yes or no? He told me he's busy with his advisor, Lyndon, and he is standing with the boys in blue. I spoke to Lyndon afterwards, and the next day actually, and he told me indeed, he told MP Arundel he has to stand with the boys and girls in blue. So it wasn't a surprise for me when this meeting was called. But I do not want politics to be played with it, because the solution is there. The solution is there. The compromise, the egos is what's holding back this problem. Because if everybody would only do what they have to do, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be here. But I'll say this much. This minister has pulled this wagon the furthest. If she leaves now, I do believe that this whole program will come to an abrupt halt. That's my personal opinion. Because whichever other minister steps in will want to recheck everything again. Because In St. Maarten, we don't have the concept of continuation in government. We have that dumb crab mentality that we got to start over because it wasn't ours. That's unfortunately our style here. So, sending them home, I don't know if you can get the desired results. Maybe it is the satisfaction that she played games with everybody and now she's going to pay the price. But I am saying there are other ways to skin this cat. I think the overtime has to be regulated now. The guys are going to be making 150 and 200. Go and make your budget amendments. Because if you can make them for all kind of other nonsense, then make it for this. And that's the way, because they refuse to put it in the budget. In budget 2023, this money wasn't there. So they're going to have to go and find it and put it in now. Cut something else. I don't care what you cut. Cut something else. Cut roads. Do something, because you aren't doing anything anyway. Besides that, the placement letters must be validated and they must be given a right. Not that if you agree with it, it will continue. No. Even if you don't agree with it, you must be able to derive a right of the placement letter. Why is that so different than the government? They are also civil servants, those police. Maybe ruled by a different set of rules, because 3 years further and we don't have a solution yet. So again, I'm saying, let's do something. The unions, you all got to join forces and stop this nonsense. But who don't agree with who? You all have to agree with each other as a front to the outer world. And if you all have your differences internally, you still maintain a front. Because united we stand, and divided all of you all going to fail. All. Not some of you all. Don't believe that one going to get it and the other one is either everybody going to get it or nobody going to get it. It's that simple it is. And we need to understand unionism a little better than how we are practicing it right now. Not because we travel all over the globe makes us a union leader. As long as you are not representing the best interests of your employees and the country they live in, you're not doing your job. You're not doing your job. And I know some people get upset with me, but I'm okay with that. I'm not here to please anybody tonight. I'm just here to put on the facts as I see them. The question is the Coast Guard, the customs and immigration also part of the go slow? Because that's not clear. I saw a video where the customs didn't blow, so cargo couldn't be released. Was that part of the go slow, or what was it? I mean, listen, understand this. I don't want this country to be damaged more than it has been. This man-made disaster ain't no good for none of us. Honest to God, it ain't good for nobody. Not for the politicians, not for the justice workers, not for the residents, not for the visitors, for none of us. And the Minister of Tiat is right, being extremely concerned of where this can lead. Because Carnival, like it or not, no, those 17 days brings in a lot of money for country St. Maarten and puts a lot of money in the pockets of many locals that are doing something for the Carnival season. And it even gives some of them that want to jam a nice time to jam. So again, we got to see where we go. But today there was a consultation with the governor and the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Justice, and I believe MP Bryson, because he also alluded to going to have consultation with the governor. And the question is, okay, so we had a consultation this morning. What came out, or this afternoon, what came out of it? Are we going to wait till tomorrow to make headlines? Oh boy, we got this. Tell the people from now. Make the agreements and tell the people, because it is not many things can happen, you know. So either the governor agrees to allow the partial payment to take place and he will sign off on the national decree, because the interest of the country weighs heavy in this decision. Will the minister agree to the partial payment. And this is the Minister of Justice because she had to put a signature on it. Because up until today, she has said, absolutely not. She is doing it the right way. If there's one thing we will all know when she leaves, is that she did it the right way. The right way is not always the right way. The right way can also be the wrong way. Your thoughts are clear. Your intentions are clear. But the way of doing it is not the right way. While you mean well and you don't want to tomorrow get caught up in any kind of strange things, I don't think you could have done anything to get caught up in anything strange because you were the onlyest one that has at least brought it from out of the dark ages into the light. So, Minister, in that objective, I don't think you have to be too afraid of what's going to happen. Once the governor puts his signature there, he has mandated you by a Landsbesluit to do this. So you are covered. You have what we call a CYA, cover your ass card. You have that. That's what that LB is all about. So again, we need to get this done. We need to understand what came out of that consultation with the governor so that the people, the stakeholders, the Carnival Committee understand where they are. Is there a go, no go? What is it for them? Because as Carnival Committee, I want to believe Carnival starts tomorrow and the parade kicks off tomorrow night, the jump up coming into the village. But the police has said that they're not doing it. And we haven't heard different yet publicly. All the bands, all the fellas them tuning up, renting equipment. What's happening? Do we understand that there's more that meets the eye right now in just a little debate between a minister and a union? Now the country's economy is on the line. And I truly hope, we don't play politics or allow egos to take the better of us in this matter. So what happens now? The governor, the government, the Minister of Justice can give and ensure that the owed monies are paid to the officers. The overtime is regulated as it used to be before, and the letters are signed off correctly if that is the situation. This is going to lead to a nice carnival, and the country will remain safe and secure. We can also do nothing and play hardball. And there will be most probably no carnival, no jump-ups, no juve, those type of things. Maybe some parties inside the village, but nothing that we would be proud to call carnival. Now, again, the amount of damage financially that this will cause is significant. Who's going to pay for it? Because this is a man-made disaster. So the insurance ain't covering this. Carnival Committee is not responsible for this. So who is? Because the government is saying them. The police ain't want to work. But who's responsible for the police? Who's responsible for the situation we are in today? One organization, the government of St. Maarten. So let us not mince words about these things. But maybe, just maybe, we can still find it in our hearts and leave our egos at the doorstep. And we go in there and we meet each other halfway. By doing that, we will save what can still be saved. The trust isn't there. We know that. We'll have to work on that moving forward. The unions are fighting each other. We're going to have to work on that moving forward. But for the sake of this country, I implore on all involved to please make a concerted effort to resolve this problem by 12 o'clock midday, Friday, April 14th, 2023, so we can all have a wonderful, wonderful carnival. Let's lay off of the threats of who can get fired and which court cases we're going to start and who this and who that, because that doesn't help the situation. That only creates more animosity in a very, very murky water right now. Sometimes, When I look at this, I start to laugh and I say, only in St. Maarten can something this hilarious yet so serious happen, that we play with the country's safety and security. We treat people that put their lives on the line every day as if they're a set of children. Because the way we treat them, if you were treated that way, oh my God, what hell and thunder would have come down on us already. You see, this is the problem. Hypocrisy played a big role in where we are today. When people are telling those in charge what to do to get back at somebody in the organization, you have a problem. When we look at the justice organization and we see how many of the top brass has been sacked, it gives you food for thought. Reorganizations in the rule of law don't happen overnight. Those people are not there on the sideline to pick up. And we got to be very careful, because up until today, I'm unpleasantly amused that we haven't heard a word from the Dutch, when I can so recall in the country packages and the cuts we had to make, the police are not to be touched. Nothing with justice is to be touched. They were touched the hardest. Over time, all kind of crazy things went down. They were touched. They were seriously touched. Today, the rule of law is a fundamental part of our country packages. And what have we done? Absolutely nothing. What has the Dutch said about the police force and how we're going to work with them and how we're going to ensure that there's peace among the employees? 17, 19 have left? Nothing. Cars to work with? Nothing. Nobody accepting the garages anymore. Police can't send their cars to garages because nobody ain't getting paid. So you understand, it's going from bad to worse. And then when you pick up the newspaper today, oh, they want to know what's going to happen with the prison, because they got 136 people should be going to jail and they ain't in jail yet. And I'm saying, really? That's the best we got? That's what they could have come up with? Let's build a jail because 136 people got to go to jail? While police officers sleeping in their car, others can't make ends meet, food baskets are given to them by their friends? Man, please, please, let us not ridicule ourselves by painting a picture that doesn't need to be painted. We have made fools out of ourselves enough already. We don't need anything else. All we got to do now is come together, compromise, and find a solution. I want to wish you all a wonderful Thursday evening. Thanks for listening, and pass on this video for me, please, to your friends so that they can understand what's truly happening right now on St. Maarten with this whole justice/police workers saga between the government, the unions, and the employees themselves. Take care, Bunks is out, and I hope to see all of you tomorrow at the jump up, because a solution was found and Carnival will be on. Take care and now.